in his hand. And I'm going to cut across here and get finished, because I know when the clock strikes the next 5 minutes that you nervous folk going to start moving here. But let me tell you what happened. Hallelujah. It was already demonstrated by the fine arts department. Yes, he died. Nobody, even the historians, do not argue that he died. History will tell you there was such a man that lived about 2,000 years ago named Jesus. History will tell you that he performed some magic or some miracles that people couldn't understand. History will bear it out that the Jews at that time thought that he was the one that would deliver Israel from the oppression of the Romans. History will bear it out that he was crucified, which was the Roman method of capital punishment. Nails in his hand, nail in his feet. And if he had been whipped the night before, according to the custom of the Jews, he would have received 40 stripes minus 1. But somebody said he was not beaten according to the Hebrew law, but he was flogged all night according to the Roman law. So the whelps and lines were in his back, and some places even hunks of flesh had been pulled out of his back from how when they whipped, and those little pieces of metal that was in the end of the rawhide rope had torn loose his flesh. On the shoulder, he was so badly bruised from carrying the rugged cross and falling down under the weight. Yes, history will tell you that he died. History will tell you that he was placed in Joseph's new tomb. But at this point, history gets confused, and some of them agree with the lie that the disciples stole him away. And history loses itself around the time of his death. But the biblical historians tell us the story that the secular history will not record, that after he slept in that grave for 3 days and nights, that early that Sunday morning, good God from on high, angels from the realm of glory left the shining halls of heaven and camped out over that tomb. And while they were camped out over the tomb, one angel, speeding like lightning, rolled the stone away, and Jesus Christ comes to the entrance of the tomb. He's not in a hurry. He doesn't have to run from anybody, but he comes out dangling some keys, saying, I am he that liveth, that was dead, but behold, I'm alive forevermore, and I got the key of hell and death. I'm holding it in my hand. And he stepped out of the tomb, declaring all power, God from on high, power in heaven, power in earth, power in hell, all power is in my hand. But I told you, his resurrection, sit down just a moment, means life for you and me. Now, it wouldn't have been anything if he had just come out of the grave to show his power. All right, Lord, you're powerful. What about us? He said before he died, he heard them plotting. In the 11th chapter of John, he had raised Lazarus. In the 12th chapter, he comes riding in. on the back of that jackass. And the city father said, "Mister, make him hush." You hear what these children are saying? They're saying, "Hosanna, blessed is the King of Israel that cometh in the name of the Lord." Make him shut up. They never appealed to him before. So Jesus looked at him and said, "I tell you that if these should hold their peace, the rocks would immediately cry out." They said, "We got to kill him. We got to get rid of him." So while they were plotting, talking about putting him on the cross, he says in John 12:24 that except a corn of wheat, except the grain, except the kernel of wheat falls to the ground and die, it remain alone. And here you are talking about getting rid of me by lifting me up on the cross. But I want you to know, as long as I'm living in the body of flesh, you don't have nobody but Jesus of Nazareth to deal with. But put me in the ground. There's a process called germination. When you put a seed in the ground, that seed dies, and the germination process causes that which is dead to sprout. And when it comes back up, it's multiplied many times. He used wheat because even today, more of the world is covered with wheat than any other grain or any other crop. They've even conditioned wheat. They've got winter wheat. They've got wheat that resists the cold. They've got wheat that'll grow under practically every circumstance. So Jesus, when he said, "Compare me to a grain of wheat," he was letting them know, when I die, I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to come back over there. You thought you were getting rid of one man, but when I die, I'm going to come back in Gilbert. I'm going to come back in Louise. I'm going to come back in Deola. I'm going to come back in Gregory. I'm going to come back in A. When I die, I'm going to spring up in China. I'm going to spring up in Russia. I'm going to spring up in Africa. When I die, I'm coming back again. Oh, God from on high, I'm glad that he went to the cross and he said, "Go ahead, nail my hands. Go ahead, nail my feet. Go ahead, spear me in the side. I'm gonna rise. I'm gonna rise again. Ain't no power on earth that can hold me down. I'll rise. Death can't keep me in the ground." Yo! Hallelujah. Hallelujah. When it came up, Paul says, Father, in 1 Corinthians 15 and 57, thanks be unto God who giveth us the victory. He said, I took the key away from death. I took the stain away from death. I took the victory away from the grave, and all that power that's in my hand, I'm putting it in your hand. I'm giving it to you. 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 You can cast out devils in my name. You can cast them out. You can lay hand on the sick and the sick will get well. You can speak things that are not as though they were, and they'll come into existence. Yeah! Can I hear somebody say, I got it? close, but I feel my help right now. Matthew 28:1. In the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn, toward the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary came to the sepulchre, but Jesus was up and gone. I preached it through the years. It was the dawn of a new day. Yesterday meant betrayal by Judas. Yesterday, hallelujah, meant getting slapped in the courtroom of Caiaphas. Yesterday meant being spat on. Yesterday meant carrying an old rugged cross. Yesterday was getting speared in the side. But when it got up, it was a new day. I just want to leave this with you. Some of you feel like you're being nailed to the cross. Some of you feel like that on your job, my God, they're spearing you in the side. Feel like that at home, the children are spitting in your face. Feel like everywhere you go, your name is on the highway. But I want you to know that's yesterday. It's a new day. Victory is coming your way. It's a new day. God is bringing you out. It's a new day. You're going to rise again. Lord, I got to close. I got to quit, but I feel this thing right now. And ultimately, it's going to be a physical resurrection just like Jesus had. They put him in the tomb, but he came out. And I want you to know one day, just like they rolled that casket during the demonstration earlier, they're going to roll you in. If the Lord delay is coming, they're going to roll me in. They're going to roll all of us in. They're going to put that body in the ground. But one day, the trump of God is going to sound. And when the trumpet sound, graves are going to burst open. When the trumpet sound, stars are going to fall out of their socket. When the trumpet sound, the sun itself is going to black out. But I'm going to rise again. And I shall see the same Jesus that walked in Galilee. I shall see this same Jesus that taught beside the sea. I shall see this same Jesus that was buried in Joseph's new tomb. And when he comes, I'm not going to need an introduction. I won't have to find Peter or John and tell them to introduce me. I shall know him. I shall know him. I'm going to look like him, and he's going to look like me. He said, beloved, now are we the sons of God, but it does not yet appear what we shall be. But we know when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. I shall know him, as redeemed by his side I stand. I'm going to know him by the print of the nail in his hand. I got to quit. Hey. Thank you. Anybody here intend to go back with him? Now, if you don't intend to go back with him, you can sit down, fold your arms and cross your legs. But if you expect to see him and go back with him, I want you to shout hallelujah. Oh, 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 oh. Somebody ought to praise him. Woo! Hallelujah. Everybody standing on your feet. Everybody